Parents living through their children. What dangers? Some parents live through their children, limiting their freedom and burdening them with burdens that are not theirs. We tell you what consequences this attitude can produce. There are those who say that the current generations of young people are selfish for not having chosen fatherhood or motherhood as a life path. Yet, perhaps what happens is that they are more aware. Aware that raising another human being is an enormous responsibility for which a significant dose of emotional maturity is required. If this is not present, we will find parents living through their children. This is a reality that many adults have experienced firsthand and many minors continue to experience today. Parents who design their children's future, who make decisions for them or burden them with the burden of their happiness. These attitudes give rise to dysfunctional dynamics that damage us deeply and from which, sometimes, we are unable to free ourselves. A child is not an extension of his parents. It is true that children are the result of what, as parents, we pass on to them, that their personality and their aptitudes are the fruit of the educational work we carry out. However, we cannot consider them our letter of introduction to the world. Some parents, by adopting this assumption, place impossible demands on their children. They expect exemplary behavior, success, and results from them in all areas of their lives, and not as a search for the minor's happiness, but for the image that the latter projects of himself to others. Somehow, they believe that their children's lives reflect their value as parents and as people, and therefore they place a burden on their children that is difficult to bear. From childhood, they will be asked to be calm, docile, and obedient, behave like miniature adults, and give up the noise, laughter, and pranks of childhood. As they grow up, the pressures translate into countless extracurricular activities, workshops, lessons, and events that the child does not necessarily want to participate in, but to which he must conform in order to adapt to that socially perfect prototype. Errors are not understood but sanctioned, and the freedom to decide and experiment is conspicuous by its absence. The script is set from the beginning, and the only path available to them is to follow it. Parents who survive with their children often make demands on them that have to do with their frustrated dreams and goals. Parents living through their children. In other cases, this pressure comes not from the pursuit of perfection, but from the desire for children to live the life their parents believe is right. Sometimes this translates into the obligation to follow in the footsteps of those adults, such as continuing the family business, following the same professional path as your parents, or adopting the same lifestyle. Any transgression with respect to these mandates, the result of a personal choice, is experienced as a lack of loyalty. In other cases, however, this child is expected to realize the frustrated dreams of those who gave him life. He is then urged to experience everything his parents couldn't. Even if it's not at all what the guy or girl wants or needs, it's a personal way to make up for it. It may also be that the two previous situations coexist, creating a real state of confusion. I want you to undertake this university path, since I couldn't, and that you be professionally ambitious, since I had to give up my dreams to start a family. But, at the same time, I blame you for having those opportunities. There are parents who experience a lack of loyalty that their children do not meet their dreams and expectations. The burden of bringing happiness to others. In essence, parents who live through their children burden them with the burden of their own happiness. Their well-being depends on their children's success, behavior, or fulfillment of their expectations. If that child fails, or simply decides on his own, he feels personally affected. These parents may also accept as a betrayal or abandonment the fact that their child builds his life away from the parental home. Regardless, we live through our children every time we place our expectations on them, forgetting their individuality and tying their destiny to our desires. We do this when we interfere in their personal relationships, even as adults, when we judge their choices, preferences, and interests, or we overprotect them to the point of making them dependent. The goal of a healthy education is to educate free and autonomous individuals, which implies a true act of detachment. It is very easy to find that refuge from the fear of loneliness in children. However, it is essential to stop this trend. If today, as an adult, you feel that your parents were one of those parents who live through their children, it is important that you spend time analyzing how this may have influenced your personality and career, and, perhaps, that you are looking for help to start prioritizing yourself. But more importantly, if you have children, work on yourself in a way that allows you to take responsibility for yourself so that you don't continue to perpetuate these patterns.